Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.
It's become very frequent that you hear that one or the other crypto exchange of the world is making Dubai as its base. So why and how is Dubai emerging as the crypto capital of the world is what we'll explore in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto. Very warm welcome. My name is Arun Singh, and of course we will talk about the topic of the day. But before that, we'll give you big stories of the week, starting with the one emerging from our country, where Union Minister of Finance, Nirmala Sitharaman, addressing a seminar during the spring meet of the International Monetary Fund, said, amidst the pioneering fintech revolution, the biggest risk of cryptocurrency could be money laundering and its use for financing terror. Now again, this has scared a lot of crypto enthusiasts in the country. She also said, and I quote, I think regulation using technology is the only answer. Regulation using technology will have to be so adept that it has to be not behind the curve, but be sure that it is on the top of it. And that's not possible if any one country thinks that it can handle it. It has to be across the board, unquote. On the other hand, as per a PTI report, a top official from the International Monetary Fund pointed at mid-term structural issues for India, and these are regulating crypto assets along with digital currency, addressing the remaining regulatory concerns in the banking sector, and integrating with the global economy. Tobias Adrian, financial counselor and director of the Monetary and Capital Market Department, told PTI, overall, the IMF is looking at India in a very positive fashion. And I quote, I think there are many opportunities and growth. There is a recovery. There's a lot of excitement around new growth opportunities, new developments, unquote. This is what he said on the sidelines of the annual spring meeting of the IMF and the World Bank. So a lot of chatter around cryptocurrency in the country and also on the international level as well. Moving ahead, crime branch of Bengaluru has arrested 4 persons for their alleged involvement in running a helium crypto token, that's HNT, through a mobile application. It was a scam. The police informed that via this mobile application, 15 crore rupees was routed through 44 different bank accounts among other items. Tweeting about the incident, Commissioner of Police of Bengaluru City Kamal Pant said, cryptocurrency Ponzi scheme busted. CCB Bangalore has arrested 4 persons for running and operating a crypto token HNT, which is helium crypto token, through a mobile app called Share Hash. The app promised high returns on investment and collected crores of rupees from gullible people. Now moving towards south, Southern star Arya has become the first Tamil actor to enter the NFT space, rather one of the first Tamil actors to enter the space with NFTs ready for sale. Minal, a new NFT platform in Tamil Nadu, is set to launch 27 NFT art forms of the actor to woo his fans to buy. The first is a preview scheduled for later this month, and again, as I said, 27 NFT art forms of Arya will be up for sale. In the end, luxury design house Hermes is considering using the metaverse for communications, although they want to remain focused on craftsmanship. Executive Chairman Axel Dumas told shareholders, we are curious and interested about the metaverse as it can be a good communication tool. Coming back to what I said in the opening, why is Dubai becoming the crypto capital of the world? We shall explain and discuss this while I go to the coffee wall. Let's go. A big Indian-based crypto exchange recently moved its base to Dubai, triggering a conversation about crypto brain drain in India. That's a separate topic though. But cryptocurrency exchange Bybit also announced that it would be moving its headquarters from Singapore to Dubai. And previously, global crypto exchanges like FTX and Binance had received licenses to operate in Dubai. Here comes the big question. Why is Dubai becoming the crypto capital of the world? We'll tell you. So recently, Dubai Virtual Asset Regulation Law was introduced. Now, this was introduced to develop Dubai and the UAE as regional and global destinations for the crypto market players. This was its first law governing the virtual assets. Now, it also formed an independent regulator for cryptocurrency sector. This is something that a lot of crypto enthusiasts here in India are expecting to happen, which is regulation. So Dubai has regulated it, and it is called this independent regulator, Dubai Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. You can also call it VARA, which is VARA. Now, its main responsibilities include regulating the issuance of new crypto tokens, supervising and controlling the trading of virtual assets, ensuring that high standards of protections are in place, monitoring transactions, and there are several other tasks that it has. But to cut it short, it's regulated, it has a law, and then they have a motive to encourage global players to come to Dubai or UAE. So we'll discuss this with our guest, and we'll also talk about the brain drain. Let's get into our discussion. We have with us Om Malviya. He's president of Tezos India. A very warm welcome. On the other hand, we have Sachit Joly, partner, DMD Advocates, tax lawyer. Mr. Om, first question to you. With the new tax regime in the country and the latest UPI fiasco we have seen, do you think a crypto brain drain is near in the country?
Yeah, I would say that crypto brain drain is definitely happening. At what scale? That's the question. Right now, the scale is not that big. One thing we have to realize is smartest of all the people in this entire world are working in this space, right? And we have seen in the history when all the smart people work into one space, it brings a new wave of innovation. And while Indians are in some part leading that wave of innovation, but India is not. And so I'm seeing that trend happening while just looking around founders, entrepreneurs around me. That due to lack of regulation, lack of clarity around conducting your businesses, if you are doing it crypto, a lot of people are moving outside of India.
And you sound quite modest and humble when you say, smartest of the people are doing it. But of course, I agree with you what you're saying, that, this in a way is encouraging the brain drain in the country. And on the other hand, regulation is also expected, but what that regulation will have, we'll have to see in the future only. Sachit, the same question to you. We have this new tax regime, and then recently UPI regulation or regulatory also said that, we are not aware of any cryptocurrency exchange using UPI. All of this is very discouraging. You think having a tax regime on one hand and no regulation on the other is in a way encouraging the crypto brain drain?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, Sachit, go ahead.
Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that if you have such a high taxation, and I would call it an appropriated taxation regime, which, discourages anybody investing in it, and then you have a regulator who's not willing to put his stand out versus, a Dubai which has almost as of now, a nil tax system, and at least shown the inclination to have a regulatory system in place and put a regulator out there to talk to people. I think if you compare the two, the answer is obvious. And anywhere, see, Dubai, in terms of distance, in terms of your, as you call, a plug and play policy is up there and running. So, it just adds value to them. Unfortunately, our policy makers do not seem to take that into stride and move quickly. But I can't. There are no two ways about it.
Yeah, Sachit, since you are a tax lawyer, and of course we've been talking about Dubai here as well. Do you think, already tax rules in place in Dubai also make a comfortable space for cryptocurrency? Would you say that? Or if you can give us an insight of what the taxation really is like in Dubai, or probably that has paved a way for cryptocurrency for global players?
Correct. No, see, as of now, there is no, in that sense, income tax in Dubai, but they've proposed a tax starting from 2023. But that's a bare minimum 10% tax. I don't think there is too much to worry about on that front as well. And globally, I think we are moving towards a regime where every country will levy a tax. We are moving towards a global consensus on what we call the Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 under the OECD regime. that every country will now start levying some kind of tax. You will not have tax havens in the future. But a 10% tax rate or a 15% tax rate, as the world is today saying, is still doable. If you allow expenses to be allowed, if you allow losses to be set off. Over here, we have a 30% gross tax. It's like killing the business. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer today. If somebody asks me, where would you set up your shop? I'll say Dubai, because of you can talk to the regulator, the tax regime is friendly, and it is predictable. It is not unpredictable. I think the business looks at predictability. The business looks at, please tell me, what do I have to do? Please don't come back after I start the business and tell me that I had to do 10 things retrospectively. Those are not things which businesses want. So I think that's where Dubai is pretty much scoring over us as of now.
Okay. Om, coming back to you, of course, what we've also explained in our explainer, I'll ask the same question to get a different perspective from you. Of course, explainer was about why is Dubai emerging as a new hub for Indian crypto players or crypto players across the globe. What is your opinion on this? Why do you think that's happening, especially for the Indian crypto players?
Yeah. So I think Sachin shared great thoughts about how, in terms of tax and regulations, how Dubai has got everything sorted out. But I think one other reasons to that is also they've got friendly regulation. Yes. It's also geographically, it's near to India. It's easier to get in touch with India here, your friends and family and ecosystem. They've got lower taxes, and there's also this network effect. So the thing is, we have seen some entrepreneurs from India moving to Dubai, and they've managed to build their business significantly. That in turn is encouraging a lot of entrepreneurs that, if I move to Dubai, I can also get away with all of this lack of clarity of regulations problem, while I can also focus on scaling my business, scaling my products.
Yeah, but does that make a difference for my audience or for my customers in India as a crypto exchange? It doesn't, right?
No. I don't think it does that much. Yeah.
But do you fear that India will lose out on talent or opportunities for crypto enthusiasts if this regime was to, continue the 30% tax or no regulation? Do you think India will lose out on talent, Om?
Yeah. So, in the crypto industry, it's very normal that these days, a lot of payments, your salaries and these things are made in stable coins, right? Or they are paid in Bitcoins or Ethereum. And that basically enables, that you can work from anywhere for any company, and while you can also get paid. And you don't wait for 7 days for your payment to get reflected. And second thing is, people who have recently started working in this space, they have started to realize the potential of the industry, right? If I've started as an employee, now after 1 year, I would want to start my own startup. And when I go through that journey, I would look into questions that, what makes the most sense for me? If I want to start a new innovative product, if I want to build a new protocol, a new blockchain, or new DeFi product, how would I bring the maximum amount of value for me as a business and for my users, right? And that's where, when you start looking into it, Dubai and this kind of countries seems more favorable.
But Sachit, can or should the existing framework be changed to stop this brain drain, or probably bring a regulation in a way which doesn't harm the government? Of course, we've heard a finance minister again talking about the ill effects of cryptocurrency. So I really doubt, a regulation is around the corner. We really doubt all of that. But do you think, can there be a change to the existing framework?
Well, it'll be difficult. I think the government has to make up its mind to have any kind of broad policy framework or a regulator. I don't know. Unless they are clear in their mind, I don't think anything will come out. I think one more aspect which here deserves consideration is the bunching of NFTs with crypto assets. I think we all call it under the same roof. I think there are completely two different regimes. I think somebody needs to stand up and understand how these maybe a Bitcoin versus an NFT works. To bunch it all together and say everything is at 30% tax and everything can lead to money laundering, I don't think, these are jargons we hear every day. We've heard allegations of corruption within the CBI as well. It's not that you shut down a CBI. or we have corruption in the government, you shut down the government. You don't do that. You find a way to work around it. You find a solution to it. You don't just shut it out. So I think the idea should be to regulate. Yes, make up your mind, bring a policy, be the pioneer. Don't have to wait for the other governments to do anything. Lead by example.
Or maybe, and Sachit, a lot of crypto enthusiasts, also said that, probably 30% doesn't pinch us much, but it's also 1% tedious on every single transaction. A lot of day traders have also opposed that move. So maybe a little amendment on that front.
It's an irritant. It's difficult to implement. I mean, it's in fact, under the Indian income tax law, generally tedious provisions do not apply to individuals. But this is a peculiar provision which applies to almost everybody under the roof.
Sure.
If your income in a year is less than a particular threshold, you are not subject to a tedious provision. Like if you are a salaried person, tedious doesn't. You don't have to do a tedious when you buy a software or you pay for services.
Right.
A business, yes, will have to do. But if you apply it across the board in the case of now virtual digital assets, it creates irritant.
Sure.
You basically are saying, don't do this transaction.
Got it. Got it. Right. Thank you so very much. That's all the time that we had for this. And of course, Sachit mentioned about, agencies, and I won't go that far, but I would say that, internet also has its own ill effects. But of course, you can't shut down internet. Then there has to be some middle ground there. And that is what a lot of crypto enthusiasts have been asking. But moving on to our next segment, that is MCQ, which is My Crypto Queries. And we'll be answering your questions. And when I say we, it's our expert. Now that's Rohas Nagpal. He's author of the Crypto Playbook book, and he's also the chief blockchain architect for Hi-Fi Blockchain. Welcome, Rohas. First question is from Mehul Solanki. He's asking about Pi Network, and I get a lot of questions on my personal DMs as well about Pi Network. It's a platform where you can mine this currency on mobile phone. It has created a lot of hype. What do you think of this? And the question here is, what is the Pi Network's value in the market?
Sure. So I'm personally not convinced with Pi Network at all because it does not have a use case. So when you are going to mine a crypto, there has to be a logic behind it. Why are we mining it? Because it is going to solve some problem, and thereby over a period of time, its usage will increase and the value will increase. So when you look at Bitcoin or so many other cryptocurrencies, they have a real world use case, and that is why you mine them, you spend energy on it. But in the Pi Network, there is no use case, right? It does not make sense that, okay, fine, you are able to mine it using your phone. You are able to do it with very little energy consumption. But what is the point of it ultimately? By mining Pi coins, what are you creating? What use case is there? There is nothing. So I would strongly recommend to people not to waste their energy and time with that.
Okay, moving on to next question from Akshit Bhardwaj. What's the scope of blockchain for land records and voting? A very interesting question.
Very good question. Very good question. So land record has been considered a use case for a long time, but I don't think it makes any sense. And I will tell you why. A blockchain solution makes sense when there are multiple parties who do not trust each other. They have to come together for a use case. When we talk about land record, there is only one party which is putting the records, that is the government. So when it is one single party, which is the government, creating the documents, changing them, putting blockchain into this scenario will not help at all. In fact, it will slow down the system because by nature, every node will try to replicate every single land record. So you end up having 50 copies of the same data, huge costs in storage, but it is not going to add any value whatsoever. So I would not recommend blockchain for that.
Okay.
Coming to voting, while that is considered a good use case, in a democratic country, the privacy of your vote is critical. Nobody should come to know who I voted for. Now on the blockchain network, I'm going to have an address. If I'm going to vote, what if somebody can see that? And that destroys the whole fundamental logic behind democratic voting. So again, I don't think that is a good use case.
Okay, stay on with us as we quickly take a break, but we'll be discussing physical Bitcoin, and we'll also have Rohas answer questions about physical Bitcoin as well. You don't go anywhere. Keep watching NDTV as I take 2 sips of coffee in this break. This is Coffee and Crypto, and now we'll be talking about physical Bitcoin. What is a physical Bitcoin? Let's get you the explainer. Well, it's similar to the fiat currency, how we have coins and notes in physical form. that's how it exists. They're usually made from metals. Of course, it has the Bitcoin logo that you can't miss, but also its value is written on one side. But fiat currency has a numeric written on it. Physical Bitcoin has a private key printed on its back. This key usually holds a coin's actual value in a digital wallet. It could be 1 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin, or 50 Bitcoin. They are more or less like ATM card. The card does not have any value, right? It's the magnetic strip on the front of the card or the certification on the voucher which actually gives it the access to the real currency. So that's what physical Bitcoin is, but we have some questions related to it that Rojas is going to answer. He's Chief Blockchain Architect of Hi-Fi Blockchain. How are these physical Bitcoins created, Rojas? And I guess you also have one in your hand.
Yes, I do. So these physical Bitcoins are of two types. One is just this pure collectible. So it is a little heavy, so you can even use it as a paperweight. It has the logo and some nice looking design on it. So it will come for 100, 200 rupees. It has no value per se. But it all started with one gentleman in America who started printing the private key behind. So when you look at cryptocurrencies, to own it, you basically start a wallet. And a wallet has an address which you can share with the whole world, like a bank account number, and anybody can send Bitcoin to that address. But more important is a private key. And every address has only one private key related to it. When I have that private key, I can transfer that Bitcoin to anybody else. So, you know, when you hear about people's Bitcoin getting hacked, what is actually happening? Someone is getting their private key. Thereby, they are able to replicate the digital signature of the person and transfer all his Bitcoin.
Right. But who is creating these now?
Well, anybody can. Even you and I can start doing it. What we would do is we would put Bitcoin in a particular wallet address and then print the private key behind and the address in front.
But do we need these physical Bitcoins, Rojas?
No, actually we don't.
It's just a fad, probably.
It's just a fad. It just feels cool, so people use it. And you and I can start issuing. We don't need any permission.
Right. It definitely looks cool, and that is why Rojas has got one to flash for us as well. But although that's a souvenir, or let's say, I mean, as he said, it doesn't have any value. But thank you so very much for answering all our questions, Rojas. That's all that we had for physical Bitcoin and also this episode. But we'll be back next Friday. I'm Arun Singh. It's goodbye from my side.
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.